Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here, and I'm going to be going over some of the changes that the Germans got. Yeah, as far as the dev server is right now, in 1.33, the Germans have no new aircraft. However, you do have a lot of changes. And overall, they're pretty interesting. A lot of new weapons and weapon systems are made available. So we will start with the Focke-Wulf 190A5. And let's take a look at this. Now, this is the new system for basically upgrading. And from what I understand, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, these upgrades kind of put you at the performance level, except for engine replacement and the new engine injection, as well as, where was the other one? Fuselage repair, which makes it kind of like the old system was you could upgrade your engine and then you got basically the weapon power or the new fuel, and then you got, the more aerodynamic fuselage. Some of these other features actually, you start out at a less than, how to say this? Basically, your plane isn't as good as it once was, but you can upgrade it to. And I'm not sure if this is just experimental on the dev server, so don't panic, although I'm sure some of you will, and it's usually humorous. But yeah, so this is pretty interesting, although it is pretty cool. And it may take some time to get used to. It's like, the new Facebook layouts and all that crap. It's nothing like that, Baron. You're an asshat. Wow. But yeah, so let us look at the new additions. First, I want to start out with their rockets. And these are the BR-21 rockets and 210 millimeter rockets. And they were used by the Luftwaffe. It stands for the Werfer Granat 21, or rocket mortar. And these things were used by Focke-Wulfs to fire into bomber formations. And they weren't very accurate, but imagine you and a bunch of buddies. You have a squad of 4 guys, and you find a squadron of B-17s flying over the bulge, all in formation, and you unleash, each of you, 2 of these guys. Someone's going to hit. But historically, they were used to cause the bomber formations to disrupt and kind of get out of formation and get out of that overlapping, just intense firepower of all those defensive 50 caliber machine guns that these B-17s were just porcupined with. But you can imagine if you're in a B-17 and one of these bad boys is fired at you, you're going to take evasive action, and that was the point, to get the B-17s to take evasive action and move. And then you had a chance of hitting it, and you didn't even need a direct hit in many cases to severely damage or take out a heavy bomber with these guys. These are rather powerful rockets. The second addition that the Focke-Wulf 190 gets is you have 2 20mm cannons right now. Right? Well, let's say what happens when you take out those 2 7.92mm machine guns on the wings, and you put in, yeah, that's right, 2 20mm cannons per wings, for a total of 6 20mm cannons. You're just insane. You got so much firepower on it. It's just ridiculous. And let's see, is your burst mass upgraded? Yeah. So stock, without the 20mm upgrades, you have a 1-second burst mass with 2 20s and 2 7.92s at 3.15 kilograms per second. Now, with the addition of 4 more 20mm cannons, you have an 8.66 kilogram per second burst mass. And I think on paper it says the 7.92s are still there, but I'm pretty sure they are taken off. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But I would imagine with the addition of these, which are in the gondola gun mounts under each wing, it may slightly affect flight characteristics. So there should be a trade-off, I would imagine. But yeah, overall, the Focke-Wulf 190A5 now has some customization, which should make it rather versatile. Now, I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think with the Focke-Wulf 190A5, 6 20mm cannons, do you think that's more oriented to ground attack or anti-bomber? Because I'd imagine with 2 20s and 2 7.92s, you're more of an anti-fighter role. But with the power and the real usage of this aircraft as a boom and zoomer, 620s I think could be effective bombers, ground targets, and fighters when used appropriately, but I'm not sure how adding the gondola mounted 20mm cannons would affect flight characteristics, so when you find out, let me know. Now the focke-wulf 190 F8. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Now, you have the option to add, let's see here, two 30mm cannons. So stock, stock, you have a burst mass of 3.81 kilograms per second with your two 13mm machine guns and your two 20s. Now you got to go through this whole process, and I'm using Golden Eagles to kind of expedite this process, to kind of upgrade it. And yeah, that's one of the new features. Yes, I understand. What do you mean? Alright. You can do it the grind way and use Silver Eagles, or now they have this option to use Golden Eagles, or Silver Lions. I hope I specified that correctly. So we will add the R3 suspension, which allows us to get the 30mm cannons, and we will see what happens now. And look at this, you have shell racks for all three. This thing's a beast. So, our burst mass is 3.81 kilograms per second with the two 13s and the two 20mm cannons. Now we are going to add two 30mm cannons. So let's check this out. Our burst mass, goodness, is almost tripled to 9.17 kilograms per second with the 30s, and I think these are added in gondolas on the wings because the R3 suspension would indicate that. Yep. The allows installment of the cannons under the wings. Yeah. So I don't even know. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe okay. I'm thinking, and this is just unfamiliarity with the focke-wulf 190, that you keep those machine guns and you're just adding this. So 6 overall guns. And feel free to correct me on that. This thing's a beast. It is absolutely a beast. Oh, okay. Check this out. The things you learn. Alright, how do I get rid of you? Without load, right? Alright. So look at the paper stats. Look at max speed, look at climb rate, and all of that. Now we're going to add the gondolas, right? We're adding those 30mm gondolas. Now, it just showed me right there. Yeah, there we go. Max speed is decreased by 13 kilometers per hour. Turn time is decreased by 1.8 seconds. And rate of climb is reduced by 2.6 meters per second. So overall, you do experience slight decrease in flight characteristics as a result of added more firepower, and that is a good trade-off and it is a good system to use for these new weapons. You want to have them, but you want them to be historically accurate. Buzzword. So now let's take a look at some of the other planes that got these additions. So we have the BF-109 F4 and burst mass of 1.77 kilograms per second because you got two 7.92s and one 20mm machine gun with 200 rounds per gun. And you're like, I love the F4. It's one of the best BF-109s. You know, it's just slick, it climbs well, it's fun. But you know what? The only real issue I have with this aircraft is the firepower. So let's add that firepower. Now we can add two additional 20mm cannons with 250 rounds and I guess 125 rounds per gun. And your burst mass goes to 4.53 kilograms per second. You have some hitting power now. So overall, pretty good there. Yes, sir. That is looking good. And then we have the G2. And I already added the cannons. Jumping the gun there, Baron. So, the BF-109 G2, 1 second burst mass with two 7.92mm machine guns and one 20mm machine gun. with 200 rounds in that 20 millimeter is 1.77 kilograms per second. Pretty near identical to the BF-109 F4 and the F4 Trop. Both of them get that, mind you. So for you arcade players, you get you're gonna use both of them. Now we're gonna add the two 20 millimeter cannons, and our burst mass goes up to 4.53, just like the F4s. So overall, pretty awesome. Now it didn't on here. Yeah, there we go. And when adding them, you get a minus 12 kilometer per hour max to your max speed. Your turn time is decreased, and your rate of climb is decreased by 3.1 meters per second. But that keeps you at a rate of climb of 20 meters per second, which is still more than formidable. So I'm planning on trying out this G2 with the new cannons. So for you German players, no, you didn't get any new aircraft, but look at the size of this tech tree. You can't really be too displeased in the depth and the amount of aircraft you can play as. So, and then you got the new additions. You got the Werfergranat 21 rocket mortars on your Focke-Wulf 190s. You got new gondola mounted cannonry to your F4s and your G2s. You guys are beasts. Enjoy your new toys. And don't gripe about any lack of new aircraft. They are coming. Hortonho 229, what? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Baron. I hope you enjoyed this overview of the new changes to the German aircraft. And there may be more changes because this is the third time rather that the dev server has been up, and that this will happen a few more times before the patch comes out. And yes, you guys are going to ask me, when is the new patch coming out? I don't know for sure. But as it has been in the past, it's usually a few weeks to a month after the first time a dev server goes up. So we got a bit of time. So there may be more changes. So if so, check the video description below and stay subscribed to my channel, as I will put up the new additions as I get them. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Baron. Thank you for watching. And this is the Luftwaffe. However, once the F-86 came out, the Shooting Star here was relegated primarily to a ground attack role. And now, why is that? Well, the Saber's superior, and one of the areas the Saber is superior is, look at these wings. These are straight wings, whereas the Saber has swept-back wings, and most modern jet fighters do. And that's because swept-back wings just have better performance with a jet engine.